I just did my entire opening spiel. I had the music. I started on time. I did my entire opening address, and I hit like 5 minutes, and I was like, this is perfect. I got it down. Nailed it. One in the bag. Good to go. And then I fucking like looked in the chat, and I realized that nobody was talking except in the YouTube chat, and I was like, is something wrong? Am I not streaming to Twitch? And the answer is, I wasn't streaming to anybody. So, yeah, that's fun. I just talked to literally nobody. I did everything right except push the start streaming button. Good on me. Did I hear I'm canceled for my heinous actions and Thought Slime's dreams? No, I did not hear about this. Was it something that Matt talked about in his stream last night? Oh dear. Okay, well, hello everybody. I'm Tristan from the YouTube channel Step Back History and Tristan Won't Shut Up. I stream 3 times a week on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays. On Mondays from 12 till 2 Eastern, I do a stream with Mia Mulder called The Monday Discourse, where we talk about stuff going on the internet. On Tuesdays, Tuesday evenings from 7 to 9 Eastern, I do Step Back Tonight, which is a show I do where I hang out with y'all. It's just sort of a conversation with me and the audience. It's very fun, very good, and everybody has a really good time. So that's good. And then on Fridays, I do the Reactor from 12 till 2, which is what you're watching now. People send me content to react to, and I when I remember to push the button on time, we have a really good time on it. So that's great. I have to open up because I thought I closed my opening statements because I was like, good, got it in one, nailed it. But now I have to reopen it. Okay. I go by he, him pronouns. You can find my work at stepbackhistory.com or tristanwon'tshutup.com. Also, if you want to support my work, you can go to patreon.com/stepbackhistory. On that stream or on that site, I've recently just enabled annual memberships, which means that for a 16% discount, you can get benefits for a whole year. So if, say, you want to support a year's worth of Step Back videos at $1 a month, I have only one annual membership right now, and she supported at $1 a month, and only cost her $10.08. So good discount, and yeah, you're helping me, budget and be a professional creator. Another way that you can help out is everybody who has Amazon Prime gets 1 free Twitch Prime subscription per month. If you don't use it, it's at no extra cost to you. Amazon just keeps your money because it's basically baked into your Amazon Prime subscription. So, so that means with your Twitch Prime, or that means that I want you to support an independent Twitch creator on Twitch. If you help me, I'd be very grateful. But please help somebody, because if you don't use it, you're basically just letting Jeff Bezos keep your money. Or whoever is going to replace Jeff Bezos. I have to remember the new billionaire CEO that I have to hate. And with content coming out, I have a video on the Yakuza that has been kind of doing poorly, but it's soon to be replaced with a video on the Jamaican Maroons, which should be coming out right after the stream is over. So, right after the stream's done, you can go and watch the new Step Back video. It'll be coming out right away. On Tristan Won't Shut Up, I'm working on a new video. The video right now is on Star Trek, if you haven't seen it. But I have a new video on Tristan Won't Shut Up that I'm just now finishing up. Or not finishing up. I'm just now getting started on. And right now, you guys will probably have fun with this. It has the tentative title that I came up with this morning. Because I decided to take a new direction with the video. And now it's titled, Capitalism is a Perfectly Balanced Game with No Exploits. So, you have an idea of where that's going. And you surprised the weeaboo didn't go for that video. Yeah. I realized very quickly that Step Back's audience has exactly 2 topics that I'm allowed to do. So if I'm not talking about the radical left or the radical right, my video is going to tank. So I have to talk. So if I talk about civil rights, people of color, no. If I talk about anything to do with history, no. But talking about fascists and communists, those are the only 2 topics that get mad views on Step Back, which means I've done now 3 videos in a row that are not about the radical right or the radical left. So I'm going to. So obviously I'm paying the price for it now. So I gotta get on that. Gotta get on that drip. I made a promise that I wasn't going to make videos about white supremacists on Black History Month, and it has cost my channel dearly. Okay. Let's see. But someone just discovered the Spiffing Brit. I discovered the Spiffing Brit quite a while ago. I just feel like it was a really good, shtick to do the next video about. So let's go for it. Last thing I want to cover is this channel's been growing quite a bit, a little bit slower in the last couple days, but if this is your first time watching one of my streams, please make yourself known in the chat. I really want to build up a community, and we've got a pretty tight-knit one here on YouTube and Twitch, so please say hello, make yourself known. You're among friends here. Think you'll ever do a Black History Month on Rosemary Brown? Maybe. Spiffing Brit is... See, now they're learning, because, one of the things I mentioned on streams in the past, and almost any YouTuber will tell you, is that we're basically constantly bombarded with requests for videos to make things about. And there's a new thing where it's not just... The comments aren't, make a video about this. It's now... Would you ever consider making a video about this? It's much nicer. Spiffing Brit is a video game YouTuber, yeah. But what he does is he basically exploits video games. He finds not hacks, but he finds he breaks the mechanics of video games to turn games into ridiculous things. Quentin Reviews described this phenomenon that happens to YouTubers as it's like being a musician at a concert, and every time that you're playing a song, the audience is shouting requests for songs you haven't written yet. Yeah. Where was I? Yeah, Spiffing Brit does games where he finds broken exploits in video games, and he just shows how they work and how broken they are, and usually to hilarious impacts. And usually does it to turn a game into another game. There was one where he was playing the Total War Warhammer game and used it to turn it into a hedge fund manager simulator or something like that. And the most recent one that I was watching just before I broke for lunch and then started streaming was... My daughter introduced me to your channel? That's so cool! Tell your daughter I think she's cool. The latest one I saw was about RimWorld organ harvesting, the perfectly balanced organ harvesting colony simulator game. Which, because RimWorld's one of my favorite games, so that's a whole thing. Did I know that Philosophy 2 was trans before she came out? No, I did not. So it was a surprise to me as well. Philosophy Tube and I are friends, but we're not besties, So she kept that pretty close to the chest as far as I can tell. Yeah. The other thing, though, is that the Spiffing Brit's been breaking out of just video games and is doing stuff about, breaking the, breaking Steam key stuff and breaking, I did 2-part series about breaking YouTube's algorithm and stuff, so it's pretty fun. How will I celebrate 100,000 subs? Oh, I know exactly what I'm going to be doing for 100,000 subs. You see this thing? This Emma Goldman print? For 100,000 subs, I have 3 more of these. I'm going to be doing a giveaway. So that's my 100,000 subs special thing. I've got 3 of these framed prints of Emma Goldman that I'm going to give away to 3 lucky subscribers. The details of what that's going to be like, I don't know. I feel like it's like, the thing is, like, a lot of people do like these like Q&A streams for their 100,000 subscriber special, but I kind of do that. I kind of do a Q&A stream once a week at a minimum. So I have to think about what I have to do something a little bit bigger or more fancy. Yeah. So that's where we're at. So we'll see where that goes. At current rates, now I don't know if things are kind of slowing down a little bit, so maybe it'll not happen. But I would like to get my, for 100,000, I don't know. I'm supposed to be hitting 100,000 subscribers sometime in June or July. Optimistically, June. Realistically, July. Conservatively, sometime this year. I'm currently at, gosh, what am I at right now? Let me just give a quick look. Currently, I have 85,840 subscribers. So I'll probably end up getting to 86,000 subscribers this weekend, which gets me 14,000 away from 100,000 subscribers. And 14,000 at a rate of about, I'm getting maybe 90 subscribers a day right now. Let me just do some math. Divided by 90. And 155 days from now, or 156 days from now. 156 days from today puts it at July 18th, 2021. So if things keep at the rate that they're at, it'll be July that I'll hit 100K. But I'm thinking that it might change because once February's over, things have really slowed down in February because I did videos about people of color instead of videos about socialists or fascists. So it's really slowing down. But March will come soon, and I'll go back to making episodes on that series on the white power movement. I have 7 more videos in that series to do. So then everything will start taking off at that point. Maybe I'll start off March by doing the one about women in the white power movement because I hate my channel growing. And I know that video is not going to do well because if you make videos about anything but white men, this video the channel doesn't do well. But I'm doing a video on COINTELPRO next. After this video, after the Maroons video, which is coming out after the stream is over. So once this COINTELPRO video is out, I'm going to get back to the White Power series for a while. But I think the COINTELPRO video could actually be very successful, which then means that I can make a video about WOMs and take the hit to my channel and not have it be devastating, like having 4 or 5 unsuccessful videos in a row. Ha, because that's my life. I love that I can't make a video about anything but white men, or my channel will actively lose momentum. I thought you didn't stream on upload days. That was at a time when, like my video, there's a time when the best time for me to upload my videos was noon on Fridays, but it started to morph, and now it seems like the best time for me to upload on Fridays is 2 p.m., which is right after the stream is over. I just didn't want a situation where I was streaming while a new video was out and sort of competing for that attention, but now I can kind of just finish the stream and the video starts, and that seems to be all right. That's based on my own channel data. There's a thing with TubeBuddy that tells you the best time to release a video. And the best time of the week for me to release a video is Fridays at 2 p.m. At least now, based on recent data. Man, we learn all sorts of new stuff. They've added a lot of new stuff to YouTube analytics that show a lot of stuff like what channels your audience also watches a lot of, and what videos people have been watching from other channels that your subscribers have been into. Like, I know that y'all like Thought Slime. That's number one. That's like the number one channel that I've got crossover with because, you know, I push him down the stairs and call him slurs apparently in his dreams. People really like, let's see, who else? Step Back viewers also really like Vosh, Some More News, Renegade Cut, Second Thought, Majority Report, Both If Column, Secular Talk, Hasanabi, Philosophy Tube, Atunche, Jose, The Surfs Times, The Gravel Institute, and Wisecrack. Those are the big crossovers. And also, I just realized that Jose almost has as many subscribers as me. Damn. Really been picking up. And then other videos here, like people, like, PragerU does not understand democracy is like the number one crossover for like videos. So, you know, this is the thing. It's interesting. It's Hassan Abi. You don't say Hassan Abi. I know. Why are you listing my subscriptions? Yeah, for real. All right. So I guess I should probably watch some videos on this channel, on this stream where I watch videos. The first video we're gonna watch comes from submitter Del Rue, called well, let's just dig this up. I don't even know what. Documenting America's underbelly, all gas, no brakes. So I don't know what all gas. I've only seen all gas, no brakes on TikTok, where it was just like interviews with people openly flaunting like mask ordinances and stuff like that. But we'll see where it goes.
All gas, no brakes is. I seriously have no idea. I hope you put this in.
The whole economy got fucked up because of this shit, dude.
Trump might be right about Mexicans, that's all.
I would rather die than wear a mask.
Yeah, maybe you could introduce me as Andrew Callahan, young creative with his finger on the pulse, 3.4 GPA multimedia journalist, interested in creating anthropological road-based study of American oddity. All gas, no brakes.
White Claw! Independence Day!
Adolf Hitler, they have reincarnated him.
I never thought the show would be this big. I never thought that I would
The show looks
be
like it's
recognized
pretty
in
fun.
public, but I want to be able to.
As somebody who is very interested in American culture and American anthropology, this sounds like a very fun series for me.
To do different things. I want to be able to make strictly comedic shit. You hear that? And actually do real reporting at the same time.
This is how people are actually feeling. Everyone feel like that.
I just want to show people how crazy things actually are. I live at Walmart, basically in Indiana. I don't live in Indiana, but spiritually and metaphorically, I basically live in Indiana because I live at identical Walmarts from truck stop to truck stop. So I'm Indiana-based. The name All Gas, No Brakes, I have no idea where it came from.
All gas, no brakes, baby! Show me your butthole!
Oh, Flip-Flop the clown of a foot fetish.
Everybody cough in my face!
Why are you doing this? I have nothing.
Wait, was that that guy from the Flat Earth documentary that was made by oh gosh, the H Bomber guy video on Flat Earth? The guy who's made the T-shirt that was like, I think he was wearing the T-shirt that was like tweaker thing or whatever.
Show some fucking motivation! Fuck Antifa! Fuck Antifa!
Some people call it comedy, journalism, ethnography, anthropology, all kinds of academic terms. I saw like a research paper on it. There's a way to break it down, but it's not for me to do. Only like the lamest creators analyze themselves, package it with buzzwords, and distribute it. I just go outside and put a suit on and just talk to people.
Shit, we real out here. You hear me? 1K out here. Let them know. We real, we 1K out here.
Yeah, we're going to the Goodwill in Rapid City, South Dakota to get a new, crispy, oversized suit jacket and suit pants to do some interviews with bikers at Sturgis Bike Week. I think Rapid City's like 45 minutes south of Sturgis, so only a little bit of a detour. I auctioned off the old suit for charity. The importance of the suit is to appear professional as much as you can, but not like a nerd.
Maybe this is the guy who stole my jacket. I don't know if you guys know, but when I moved from Toronto to London, the the tweed jacket, that now, because of how much my channel's grown in the last few months, a lot of people don't even know about. The step back jacket got lost, and because of COVID, I haven't been able to go and find a tweed jacket. So I do live only a block or two away now from a consignment store, so maybe I'll have better luck.
That's a pretty important. We go for the big because it's funny, but it's also like, this is low-key how news anchors dress out here still. Like, this looks professional, doesn't it? Check it out, flash. I first came up with the idea of a suit. Actually, it was related to Vice. I think I was like 18, I was living in New York, and I bought like a suit just like this so I could go to the Vice office in Williamsburg and then pitch my book.
I'm in the Big Apple to do big business, and no, I couldn't pitch anything. Nobody?
Can you stop videotaping?
Didn't work out too good, but that was like the first time I ever wore the suit. I mean, yeah, the suit is the brand. Like, I usually keep a suit for like 3 or 4 months.
You get motorhomes with bathtubs?
The first suit I had for like 6 months straight.
Probably.
This would be a good time to introduce my camera guy. Yo, come here.
There's some pretty fancy motorhomes you can get.
It's my camera guy, Nick. He does all the hard work.
Andrew and I met in New Orleans.
They made fun of, remember in the Goofy movie, a movie that probably came out before you were born. In the Goofy movie, they made jokes about how people had these like massive RVs because they were kind of more of a thing in the 90s.
I guess I got involved because he asked me to hitchhike with him when we graduated college. It used to be that I had to find Andrew's debit card or the keys or his phone all by myself. But now Evan's been with us for like 4 or 5 months, and now Evan also looks for Andrew's debit card and Andrew's keys and Andrew's phone.
I'm the production manager for All Gas No Brakes. Nick really does like camera one.
This is not something really suited for a nude beach.
And then I'll do camera two, I'll do audio, I'll finesse people for releases, I handle press. We kind of all co-direct when we're at shoots. Like, we all know what's funny. We all talk about what footage to use.
Antifa!
I think like the big part of the show is like Andrew's style of editing.
If anyone tried to colonize them, they got fucked up.
There's gotta be a question for fucked up, right?
Yeah, fucked up.
I've been friends with Andrew since we were probably about 13. He just kept telling me like, dude, you gotta come work with me, you gotta come work with me. And I was like, no, like, I refuse to have Andrew Callahan do anything that kind of resembles being my boss, just because he's such a fucking character.
Fuck.
Who knows how well that's gonna go. I guess I've been doing it for probably like 6 months now, and it's bigger than ever.
I never thought the show would be this big. I think maybe the oh shit moment is happening right now. The Vice crew's in my RV, so I guess people care. When over 1 million people follow you, that's every kind of person. You have like Boogaloo Boys and Proud Boys and like anarchists following you at the same time and all laughing at your shit. I have to show what's going on. You guys want to walk in tour of the RV? Yeah. All right, everybody get out of the way. We all live in this RV together.
Editing is good. I try to do editing. I'm gonna try to do more of it in the future.
This is where I live in this back.
I'm what's it called? One of the things I was trying to do in the past was avoid like B-roll stuff because it was just like taking too long and it was wasting my time. And so like I was like trying to move away from voiceover and B-roll, and so I was trying to move to more conversational and more like bullet pointy type stuff. But one of the things I'm going to try with the COINTEL Pro video is sort of moving from like more kind of to the format of a Jim Sterling video, where I'm going to have the like in-camera conversational bullet point style more at the beginning and the end, and with some like jokes interspersed throughout. And then I'm going to like write the video's like main information delivery sections and do that as voiceover with B-roll, because I've been making so many of these positive leftist news videos that I've actually gotten a lot better and a lot faster at making B-roll like focused videos. So now I feel like I can actually like do it at a reasonable speed.
Master bedroom right here. It's not quite big enough, but yeah. Gets really hot back here. Yeah, it gets really hot back here. This is where we keep all the, you know, like, fuck. My favorite camera that we use is this shit. This is our like OG camera. We bought it in Miami off of like this old Cuban.
My Socialism a Threat was very well edited, I think. That's awesome. Thank you, Sir Zhao Zhao. I actually found out today that if you remember from that video, Kristen Godsey, the like Eastern European Studies professor that I interviewed for that video, she was recently on Economic Update talking about her book, Why Women Have Better Sex Under Socialism. So if you want to go listen to Economic Update and listen to Kristen Godsey again, because she was great. And also, I can share a behind-the-scenes story on that. She was apparently not going to do the interview for the video. She was going to turn it down because she was like, it's YouTube, don't worry about it. But, like, apparently her daughter was looking at my YouTube channel, and her daughter's like a teenager, and her daughter's a really, really big fan of ContraPoints, and she came across the one stream I did with ContraPoints like years ago, and was like, this person knows ContraPoints, you have to say yes to the interview. And so I got her, and I was like, I owe this 16-year-old girl a Coke, I guess? I don't know.
And for like, I think $500. This is a map of the flat earth. 200-foot ice wall holding the oceans in level and flat. Walmart, Chinese food. For when me and the boys want to play beer pong. We do a lot of interviews at children's parties, so we have this to fill up balloons for kids and make sure that they're like having a great time and celebrating correctly. Of course, the off-brand sanitizer, because we take coronavirus very seriously. Oh shit, the first stain. Oh man, the first stain of the day. Hopefully there will be a lot more. I just meant like, you know, motorcycle grease.
Someone just posted that in the React. This is why you shouldn't just be having random conversations in the Reactor chat, yo. It has a reason to be there.
Fuck.
What's up with the naked painting?
This naked painting? Oh, the idea for All Gas No Brakes was supposed to be that I was an alien who woke up naked on the beach in Miami and didn't know where I was, and then proceeded to learn everything slowly. Obviously, it didn't end up happening that way, but the opening shot of this thing that never happened was painted by my friend Andrew Barnes. It's a nude painting of me that he did live.
This is a very broy dude, yeah.
In Miami.
This is like an autobiography of this, of like the series, but if you ever like actually watch an episode of All Gas No Brakes, it's actually kind of interesting stuff. Because yeah, the guy just goes to like the one thing that I saw a lot of footage from was this was like back in like maybe like March. Yeah, it was March during the like last year during the beginning of the coronavirus stuff. And he went to like I think he went to like Myrtle Beach or to like Tallahassee, like one of the big spring break places, and interviewed people about why they're like flaunting all of the COVID rules to go on spring break. And it got some like pretty amazing like stuff of like young people just completely ignoring everything. It was really interesting.
This like nude painting.
When did you decide that you wanted to go into journalism?
Like I've always hated school, but the only class I ever liked was like my high school journalism class. So I went to Loyola in New Orleans and I got a full scholarship because of my high school journalism work.
Concerned that Julian provides young teens a gateway to cigarette smoking, jazzy flavors like mango, creme brulee, fruit, and cucumber will be a thing of the past.
I'm conflicted because like part of me wants to say like school's bullshit, you know, because I don't know, it just seems like a waste of money if you already know what you want to do. But for me, school helps. Just having those 4 years of like exams and actual routines like gave me what I needed to like not fuck up. But I can't say I learned that much from school. If you think about
I think that's going to happen again this year. Well, already, our province has already like is basically begging people to not go home during reading week, which is sort of like the Canadian version of spring break. And as well, we have something called March break. Oh, did I accidentally dislike this? We have this thing called March break in Ontario where all of the elementary school kids get a week off, and they're already delaying it to mid-April because they don't want people traveling during March break, because a lot of times people take the opportunity when the kids are off school to go on a vacation. And so to stop people from traveling, they've decided to delay it, and it's just like, oh my God, I can't believe that this is how we're going to stop people from traveling, is we have to like delay holidays and stuff like that. And it's like, people just can't be bothered to not be absolute solipsistic, like selfish assholes, and we have to like move holidays and stuff like that around just to stop people. Like the fact that like there's probably like millions of cases that are going to start because people went to fucking Super Bowl parties because they couldn't, because like no matter how much like people were like, don't go to fucking Super Bowl parties, people went to Super Bowl parties because now it's like a political stance to flaunt stay-at-home orders.
Most journalism curriculums in J school are written by people from...
Because the thing is, like, Ontario is under a stay-at-home order, and people are just ignoring it.
The print media, local news era. Like, they don't prepare you for, like, Instagram and TikTok maybe being the top way to send information out. I literally could have been a local news anchor in like Panama City Beach, Florida, or like Springfield, Illinois, but instead I took my own way. I came to Sturgis to like learn about bikers. I've never talked to bikers before. I don't know what they're into. They look cool. Motorcycles are kind of sick. And it's the coronavirus. People aren't supposed to be out here with no masks gathering by the tens of thousands.
There's always an anxiety that you're not gonna get like funny shit, especially when you come to an event that's super packed. You get kind of like stage fright when you first hit a spot because you don't know, like, are they gonna like media? Are they gonna think that my mask is like...
Boris did the opposite. He delayed full lockdown until after Christmas to avoid pissing people off. Actually, what's it called? Doug Ford did that too. We had a state of emergency, that stay-at-home order that we're under right now wasn't put in place until Boxing Day. Which like we've now actually done studies using like the kind of like cell phone location data and stuff like that. That shows that exact like waiting until after Christmas is why we had such a massive second wave, because not only were people traveling because they were under no stay-at-home order, but also people like we have like in Ontario we have like region-based coronavirus lockdowns. So some like Toronto and Ottawa have like a more strict lockdown, while like more outside areas have like very rural areas have very light lockdown rules. But like what it turns out is people were just driving out of Toronto to like Niagara Falls to go on vacation. And like people were just driving to malls in like the Toronto suburbs. Like this is going to be very insider Ontario, but they were going from like Toronto out to like Oakville and Burlington to go shopping. And they can find that like on some of the busiest shopping days of the Christmas season, the malls in like Oakville and Burlington had more people who were not from those cities than people who were from those cities. And this is why we had such a massive spike in cases in December.
Like some weird snowflake shit or something. Hey! What's up? Where are you going?
What's on your mind, just in general? I think that COVID is highly overrated.
Oh, and also we did he did a press conference the other day where he like not only talked about reopening the economy because we're just now coming down from the second wave, but he also made some now they're instantly talking about reopening, and now he went on like a tangent about how much he loves the breakfast sandwiches from Tim Hortons. So like, oh goddamn.
Half of the events we've gone to haven't even gotten any content because we just really care about making whatever people see like the best. Very well, we might not even get any videos from Sturgis. I mean, we're probably gonna, but thankfully we have no boss being like, put out 5 videos this week. So we're not forced to ever put out mediocre material. All right, thanks, man. I appreciate you.
One more thing. Can we get a no more bullshit?
Yeah.
Yes. No more bullshit. No more bullshit.
No more bullshit.
No more bullshit. Hard Rock Cafe. All right, thank you. All right, we'll catch you guys around.
Thanks. What do you guys want to talk about? We can talk about anything you want.
I'm just here to make Mama proud.
What do you mean by that?
My mom is really conservative, and she doesn't like who I am.
What's going on with you?
I'm crackcore Barbie.
What does that mean?
I'm crackcore Barbie.
Here's where the shoot went kind of weird.
Yeah.
A lot of people here are what you say in character. You can tell when someone's a redneck for like a week out of the year, and that's fine. Like we talked to some girl down there, and she was like, "I'm Joanna, the trailer park crackhead," and she like had a wig on. At that point, you're not really documenting culture. You're pretty much going to a costume party. I want to talk to the real Joanna crackhead.
What's on your mind right now? Going up here to look at the pussy? I mean, can I say that on there?
You can say whatever you want.
There are some fabulous honeys in there. Nipples
Jeez.
like that.
I have a feeling that maybe
Like
I shouldn't
that.
be
A
showing
nipple.
this.
Like
Am I
a
going to
finger?
get TOS'd for
Like
this?
the nipples that long, man.
I just play up the naiveness. That's the only element in which like the all gas guy is a character. Because it really is just me, but I play up the naiveness. Obviously, I've seen a lot of shit, and I know the answers to a lot of the questions that I'm asking. But it's a thing that Louis Theroux did a lot. It's kind of like when Louis Theroux would go to like mega churches, like Westboro Baptist Church, he would say, are you in support of gay marriage? You know the answer, but you want to have that dialogue so the audience can consume it firsthand, because not everybody knows certain things. So the only way that the all gas dude is a character is just asking basic questions that he already knows the answer to.
What you doing?
Oh, partying.
What about breakfast sandwiches? During a press conference, Doug Ford went on this like weird tangent about how much he likes Tim Hortons breakfast sandwiches, while talking about a disease that's killing like something like 20 to 40 people a day in his province.
You doing? Fucking running around?
Somebody who really wants to get on the show might be like extra crazy, which is kind of funny, but it's also like, is that really how you are, or are you just doing it because you want to be like viral online? Yeah. You want to come on the show right now? Yeah. You just got to be yourself.
Huh?
You just got to be yourself.
Myself sucks.
Yourself sucks?
Yeah, I'll try it.
Okay.
What we got going on here?
What sucks the most about you?
My wife. Just kidding.
Do you mean?
I mean.
Do you mean that?
That's good. That's a good sucking, by the way. Just so you know.
Oh,
do
God.
you mean? What do you mean?
Really? What do you think? A woman sucking. Think about it.
Okay.
Are you still thinking?
I see what you're saying.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
All right. I'm out of here.
Thank you. We smashed it. There it is. You just saw what it looks like. When someone comes up and is like, I'm gonna bless this kid's balls, and he's like, my wife, sucking on it, or whatever, and I'm like, the best is when they deadpan just say the full sentence at the end. Like if that dude looked at me and he's like, I'm talking about my wife giving me head. You know what I'm saying? That would have been ideal. That would have been the crash zoom.
My battery's dead. Let's get charged.
All right.
Oh man.
Part of me just like wants to just like get the hell out of here. Go somewhere where there's no bikers and no one else.
Have I been TOS'd, or is it just like, is the Twitch
relax.
chat just really, really quiet?
So
Oh,
All
let's
Gas No
get still
Brakes
going.
started. So first there was like the book All Gas No Brakes, which was about hitchhiking. The first time I went hitchhiking, I was like 19, after my freshman year of college, and spent that entire summer.
This reminds me of like when I started getting into Vice stuff. I really liked this one series where they just documented their life hitchhiking across America. And it was called Thumbs Up, Thumbs Up was the name of like a really early Vice show. That was like two brothers hitchhiking across America. They did 3 seasons of it. Season 1 was they had to hitchhike from California to Florida. And then they did a season 2 where they had to hitchhike from... they went to, I think it was Tijuana. They went to Tijuana without their passports. And they had to get to North Pole, Alaska. And first of all, yeah, they had no passports. So they had to enter into the United States illegally. And also, one of them had a criminal record, so they couldn't go into Canada. So they had to hitchhike an airplane ride to Alaska. It's pretty intense. And season 3 was the 2 of them don't speak Chinese. And they were dropped into, I think it was Hong Kong, and they had to make their way to Beijing. And it was a pretty good season. So all that stuff was pretty good. I should probably watch it again. Because it was also 2 brothers, and they were having a lot of fun doing stuff. And it was neat.
With like a recorder at different bus stations and motels, just like talking to people, I guess on like the fringe of society, like real like road people. This is the story from my first ever ride hitchhiking that was mistaken for a male sex worker. So that was pretty funny.
Yeah, he asked me if I wanted to hitchhike with him across the country, and I had, that sounded awesome. Because he had been hitchhiking by himself like a bunch of times. So we did that.
You're from Tennessee or Kentucky?
But like one of the things is like, you guys know, I have like a very dear love of American anthropology and American culture, and just like the really wide variety of things that is Americana. And the best thing about the United States is just all of the stuff you find in like weird random corners of the United States. Like it's such a big country that just has so much strange small things that if you like don't know about it, you never hear about it. And so things like Thumbs Up Across America was really interesting to just like watch all sorts of just like all the little stories, like during the first season, one of the things they do is they hop on a train, which is like something that was really common in America in like the 1920s and 1930s. But that people don't do anymore because it's pretty unsafe now. They have pretty strong security against it. But they did it anyway. And like doing that, they pass by like a lot of like empty towns because there's like all those ghost towns in the American Southwest. So they pass by like these desert, like abandoned cities and just came across things like that. And they ran into like old like graffiti from people who hop on trains and stuff like that. It was unsafe then. Yeah, the trains are a lot faster now, though. Well, they're not that much faster. But there's like, there's barbed wire fence now and security guards that kind of make it harder. But, yeah. And I love that shit. I love like the little, like things like the fact that they would go to like abandoned mining towns in the American Southwest that are in the middle of the desert that no one's been to in decades. So all it is a place for empty buildings and snakes and graffiti.
Hopkinsville, Kentucky.
We're trying to make it to Colorado.
Living in an RV gives me everything the hitchhiking did, minus hustling for food and showering and a place to sleep at night. Pretty much like totally encompasses everything that I liked about hitchhiking and then throws away all the shit that I hated about it, which is sleeping at random strangers' houses and like stealing almonds. That's what hitchhiking is. Then I started making videos on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, interviewing like drunk people. And then I figured like, I want to combine like comedic interview style with that philosophy of the road. I didn't know what to do, so I pitched the idea to this like media company called Doing Things. I was like, if you guys buy me this RV that we're sitting in
David's
right now,
Big Fat Freight Hop,
I will make a sick show out of it. And it'll be like a cultural exploration of America, and it'll be like funny meme LMAO shit. That's how it started. I convinced a company to buy me an RV. And my first project was Burning Man.
Burning Man, Burning Man.
And the stakes were high because each ticket was $2,000 and the parking spot was $2,000. I had a $10,000 budget for my first project and a team of complete, I don't want to say idiots, but unprofessional friends of mine. I mean, those videos are straight up like meme shit. Like we're just making fun of people with those videos, man.
Burning Man.
I mean, that's like our earliest work, just like crash zooms and.
Seems like I don't know anybody who hitchhikes in real life. Like, I had the only hitchhiker I knew ever, at least who's talked about it, was I had a roommate in my first year in undergrad who lived in Rimouski, and I lived in Sherbrooke. And so anyone who doesn't know, Quebec, like Rimouski is like this really rural part of Quebec. And my roommate was like, not only was he going to university, because apparently he was like kind of rich at one point, but then he lost all of his money because he got addicted to internet poker. But then he would do stuff like he what's it called? He would hitchhike home for the weekend. And I remember one time he fucking hitchhiked home for the weekend and left his windows open, and it was like -35 out, and I had to go get the RA to open up his room so that I could close the window. And there's some other stuff too, like God. He ended up dropping out, surprise, surprise, partway through the year. And he left me a note that said, "Enjoy the toilet paper, enjoy life," because he gave me all the leftover toilet paper he had, as well as his internet login because of how strict our internet, or how restricted our internet was back then.
Like bait questions, like we don't do that really anymore. Burning Man was like our peak, just like LMAO meme content era.
Brain blast. This is not real.
Flat Earth was our first like undercover dive into the conspiracy world. We kind of just like exposed them. We didn't realize that it was going to be about the Jews.
The Jews are in fucking, they freaking control all of everything.
Most Gentiles are not very conspiratorial minded.
We weren't going in being like,
oh God,
we're going to make them look anti-Semitic. 4 minutes into every interview, they give you this look where they're like, all right, I'm going to name drop the Jew. And then before you know it, they're like fucking totally saying crazy shit about Hitler.
A little short guy with the funny mustache about yay tall. He realized that the flat earth model was correct and went to seize the gate of the South in what we call New Berlin, Antarctica.
I mean, we don't bait people with any questions.
God.
What we do is we remain neutral, which causes people to say insane shit. I don't know why they say crazy shit. I don't say anything. I just stand there with the microphone. I'll be like, I'll look at the camera and they keep going and going. Yeah, so I guess Minneapolis was the first time I was like, all right, let me actually use this platform that I have to cover some shit that I care about. You know, like I took the suit off for that video. If you ever see me with no
God
suit
damn
on,
it.
with
Like,
a
look
black
at that
sweatshirt
footage,
like this,
man.
it means that I'm not.
That's like fucking like high res, like American history on film. That's amazing. That part where he was talking about the anti-Semitism, he was interviewing Flat Earth. He was at a Flat Earth convention.
Not there to make jokes. It wasn't so much of me being like, oh, let me get political because, you know, I want to get more of a liberal audience. It was like, media is not covering this. Media is not talking to the people causing destruction in Minneapolis and figuring out why.
I think of a conspiracy theory that doesn't go back to the Jews.
Building burnings? Because they don't know. They privileged. They're not. They don't
I
care
actually
about the Jews. They don't
can't.
care about black folks. This is temporary, okay? This is our future we stand up for. We making history right now.
Mostly because the anti-Semites and the Nazis, like, what they do usually is they will try and plug like Jewish people into every conspiracy as they pop up. That's sort of like how it works.
And I filmed from like 11 to 4 in the morning. And I was like, you know what? I feel like I just created something dope. And I feel like I just did the first interview with someone in front of a burning building. And I feel like I'm showing the emotional side of something that shouldn't be explained in terms of property damage. So after Minneapolis, I got a lot of love for it, and I realized like, yo, I actually can make shit that's not built for laughs. But I want to be able to make actually comedic shit and then actually do real reporting at the same time. I don't think anyone is like gonna try to box me in at this point.
Pizza by the slice and cold beer on the patio upstairs. $3.50 a can.
It's crazy there's fans out here, right? Sick.
Can you get my picture with him?
Yeah,
Can I get my picture?
Of course, of course.
White Holy shit! It's Sturgis, bitch! Last night we took 40 tabs of acid and we saw a fucking Smash Mouth.
That's the main thing people get wrong about me. They think that I'm like a stoner or like an acid guy. And hey, whatever works for you. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna categorize acid for everybody, but that's definitely not who I am. People always DM me like, yo man, like, you wanna smoke some kush? I'm like, bro, nah.
Fuck COVID. You gotta sanitize your shit.
I didn't expect people to immediately like break into COVID denial without me saying anything. I'm just asking how's it going, and people are like, oh shit.
You know, everybody's talking about this COVID-19.
The masks are a control issue. It's to keep people in fear while you have all these liberal Democrat states trying to pull a socialism switch on us.
God damn.
Obviously the media is trying to be like, Sturgis is the COVID party. So naturally it's on people's minds.
I think the Democrats are making it political.
Hey, if you're worried about the coronavirus, don't worry. I'll suck its dick. Send it!
How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing really well, man. How you doing, brother?
Fantastic.
Drunk
I'm enjoying myself
bikers
out here at
look like
Sturgis.
they're
I like your
absolute
patches,
wild,
man.
yo.
What does it mean to be a 1%er?
Well, if you have to ask that question, then you don't know, bro. You know what I mean?
So how do you feel about the whole mask thing?
No, I ain't no doctor. I'm not a scientist. I think that the whole economy got fucked up because of this shit, dude. They say, hey, down the fuck down, shut down your fucking businesses, wear a fucking mask, and we all said, okay. That's just my opinion, bro.
I appreciate you showing us respect and talking to us, man, and not tripping about the mask or whatever. People are sick out here. They're hella friendly. Nobody's even mad about the mask. I mean, they're a little bit suspicious that we're like CNN, but aside from that, it's going good.
Fuck yeah!
What's up?
I'm here to say these shirts are fucking cringy, but Trump might be right about Mexicans. That's all.
Did you get the audio from that guy?
Yeah.
Did this sound good?
Insane. He said, something's cringy, but Trump might be right about Mexicans. Fucking gassed it.
Well, this is America.
Like a stalemate?
It's like raw, unfiltered America.
Are we supposed to move?
You could totally go around it.
That's why the virus is like spreading out of control, right?
Is she gonna hit us?
What the fuck is this?
Is
everything okay? Back up. We have to back the car up? Back it up.
Yeah, I would say I have an emotional connection to the RV, but I'm also ready to stop living in it at any moment. It's fun to like go wherever you want, right? And I have like the freedom to like hop between states every day.
Alcohol's one of the things you should have found out about. Yo, we've been on that alcohol trip since before there were even humans. Like, what's it called? Fucking like animals, like chimpanzees find rotten fruit that's like partially fermented and get drunk off that shit, man. It's what's it called? It's like one of the most base things about being a human.
Having like a friend group or like
or
a
being an
network of
animal,
people, like you kind of feel like baseless in a way. So I want to.
I mean,
keep
shit.
living.
Wasps get themselves shit faced. Like, yeah, man. It's like just like a thing that people, any species that seems to have become sophisticated enough to have a brain. I mean, that's mistake number one, right? Is developing a brain. As soon as you develop a brain, the first thing you want to do is find something to turn that brain off. It looks like.
In the RV, but I want to like pick a city where I can have friends that I come back to. The more I stay still, the more I start to dissociate, and the more I start to feel like I'm living in a simulation, like I'm trapped behind my eyes. I have permanent brain damage from shrooms.
Seriously?
Yeah, I have something that's called HPPD. It's called hallucinogenic post-perception disorder. So I have like permanent visual damage. Like I see visual snow and like tracers, like even right now, everywhere I look, from using too much shrooms and stuff at a young age. I was 13 when I was going super hard with shrooms. So I guess around that age, I started to like dissociate a lot. Went to like pretty severe like depersonalization, derealization disorder for a few years.
Do I know that Jaguars get high? I'm not surprised.
I felt like I needed to live more extremely to like feel in body.
Like almost every animal gets high.
Everything that I've done as far as travel has been not escaping that, but definitely like healing that, and it's gotten better. So like my brain and vision might be fucked up for life, but I'm definitely not gonna live a boring life. I don't know. Sometimes I get worried that when the show grows, like it'll be harder to like keep it raw and real. But to be honest, the show's already pretty big, and we're still doing this, so. Fuck, man. Life's crazy. I didn't ever think I would have a show.
Yeah, the show's changed a lot, but it's like exactly the same too. Like we still live in this RV. We still have the same like clunky giant camera. barely understand what a shutter speed is and does.
It's definitely like not that sustainable of a lifestyle. Like it wears on you a little bit. You have to smell your homies every day. But I could do it for a lot longer.
I hate when people say they come away from the videos like all nihilistic and bummed out on the country. They're like, wow, everyone's crazy. We're in this giant culture war. We're all fucked. I just want people to feel like there's like humor in darkness, because we're in like a really bad time. I just want to show people how crazy things actually are in a really objective way that's like quick and easy to digest and pretty funny, because you learn better when you're laughing at stuff.
That was pretty cool. I gotta check out this series. It seems like it's right up my alley. All right, next up, we've got the Stone Lion Racism Test from GAD. Let's see what this is all about.
This is the lion dog of Okinawa, and in today's video, I want you to tell me, who's allowed to build one?
This is a stone lion. It's a mainstay of East Asian culture for thousands of years running. Virtually every nation here has it as a part of their society.
What was that series called? It's called All Gas, No Brakes. All Gas, No Brakes, sorry.
Shisa, Singa, Simha, Haite, Gangsenge, they're all really meant to mean the same thing. It's just, they're most certainly not the same thing. They're similar, but thousands of years of change and adaptation have produced slightly different versions, which are all molded by the many varied environments that have taken them as their own. And those adaptations are what I'm here to talk about today. If you see a shishi in China, it tends to look like a lion, a real lion, one you could see in a zoo. At the very least, you can tell that at some point, somewhere down the line, somebody saw a lion, and this was their attempt to recreate it. But that's not the case in Okinawa, where they call it a shisa. Looking at these deformed little figures, it is immediately clear that nobody here had ever seen anything remotely close to a lion. At best, they might have seen an Iriomote bobcat, but since they're called lion dogs when directly translated, I think it's more than likely that they're meant to be a dog. Because while at some point China might have told them about lions, Okinawa, and for that matter even their colonial overlords Japan, only had dogs. Yet despite representing an animal that never existed based on an animal they'd never seen, the Shisa are one of the Ryukyu Kingdom's most treasured customs.
Oh man, it's Ryukyu. This is like an someone's gonna have to do an EU4 meme out of this one.
Societies may have taken to these protective figures in their own way, but
dogs
nobody's
do be
done
so
it like
cute.
here.
As soon as the cats are settled in this house and they stop acting weird, I think I'm gonna get myself a dog.
Every house, every business, every government office on this island chain features a pair of these unmistakable creatures. They are here to ward off evil spirits. They keep in the luck. These are the creatures that fought against the dragons from the sea. These are the creatures that kept the forest monsters at bay.
What's up with Reactor? There's in Europa Universalis 4, the video game, or all the Europa Universalis games, there's like a meme thing, which is like the ultimate challenge is to conquer the entire world, starting as the Ryukyu Islands. It's like a thing. And everybody looks to DDR Jake, who is basically the best Universal. He's the best Paradox game player to do that kind of stuff. What kind of place is this? It's an island in the Pacific. I think it's part of Japan now. It's the island of Okinawa now, I think.
You have them. Even if you don't believe they're going to do it, why risk it? Why not put them up?
When was the last time I did a video from GAD? I can't remember.
For Ryukyu, they were doomed regardless of their lawn ornament, and because they were too small to survive their neighbors, Japanese lords vassalized the kingdom in the early 1600s, and after injecting a large swath of their culture onto local people, properly colonized them in the mid-19th century. Okinawans are second-class citizens in Japanese society, and at times have faced brutal treatment. In the eyes of their colonial overlords, they were, and to an extent still are, a lesser people. Marrying an Okinawan was considered a stain on your family line and was to be avoided at all costs. It kind of still is. During World War II, the local people were killed en masse by a suicidal imperial army espousing mainland loyalty propaganda.
Oh yeah, the cats,
and almost
the
a
UK
quarter
Prime
of
Minister.
the island's pre-war population lost their lives. In the aftermath, with American colonization in full force, the remaining locals were convinced to take a Japanese identity simply as a means of holding back the American one. By the 1970s, everything was in disarray. What hundreds of years of Japanese colonialism had attempted, the fear of Americans achieved in a single generation. People took to it because they thought it was better than the alternative. The languages of Okinawa varied across the island chain, all dwindled and were replaced by Japanese. The indigenous spiritual history virtually died out completely, and religious...
This is not the only place. Like, is this... Maybe is Okinawa? Let me just check something real quick. No, this is not the only island that Japan has like a colonial thing over, because in Hokkaido they also have what's it called? The Ainu people, who are another like group of indigenous people that the Japanese colonize.
Festivals mimicking those of mainland Japanese society came to take their place. Much of what is known today about Okinawa is only done so through Japanese texts, with all the biases that come with them. In 1972, America returned these islands to Japan, but their soldiers have stuck around. They maintain bases here to this day with tens of thousands of people from all across their empire. Soldiers that display the wide array of cultural and racial differences that have come to define
Hokkaido has been disputed between
and subsequently,
Russia and Japan,
Okinawa today is one of the most multicultural parts of Japan. This is the only part of the country where I know more people with foreign backgrounds than local. I know people here who are Taiwanese women, Persian Canadian men, ancestrally Japanese who've been here for 6 generations, Native Americans, and even once in a while, a true Okinawan. But yet they're all representative of this new Okinawa, an island where ancestral culture has very little bearing on modern action. The ability to separate what came before with what is coming now is virtually impossible. There are no native Okinawans living as they once did, and the idea that they're...
Ainu people get these like absolutely cool, these like amazing tattoos, where like they get face tattoos that are like they tattoo like their bottom jaw, and so like their face is like dark from here down. It's really cool looking.
Ever will be again is a fairly clear impossibility. This is the new world, the world they inhabit, we inhabit. And nobody is pretending it got this way through kindness or sympathy, but that doesn't change what it is. So my question is, who gets to build the Okinawan Shisa? Is it offensive if I had one on my deck? It's very easy to look at a white Canadian in a feathered headdress and say that's wrong. You can feel the history of the abuse in the action, and so it's therefore not the action.
Did I hear about
that's
the Ecuador
causing the
election?
offense,
I haven't
but
heard
the
too much about it
history
now.
behind it. The clothes aren't offensive, it's the nuance of what's being brought up by you wearing them. But I suspect a lot of that is merely because I understand that specific problem by being a part of it. I'm so directly connected to both the cause and effect that I feel it there, where I don't in Okinawa.
And you can just tell everywhere looking around, this place is like a fucking cultural melting pot. Like you can see influences from like all over the place.
Me in Okinawa, it is for many people I know.
Japanese colonialism?
So
yeah, Box, whoever comes back, I don't know.
If my Taiwanese friend wants
the
to
Yakuza
warn
video
her
might
home
have
from
killed
evil spirits,
my
is
relationship
it
with
imperative
them.
that she do so with the Taiwanese version of the lion, or can she use the Okinawan one? After all, Taiwan never conquered Okinawa. They're not an oppressive force. But if she's okay, what about her American husband? What about their household? It's mixed. It's even more complicated for someone who's Japanese, because are the mainlanders expected to use stone as they do in their homeland, or can they use coral as is often the case in the custom of the land they've conquered and inhabited? Are children born in Okinawa with Japanese heritage allowed to make it out of coral, or only if they contain Okinawan blood? So if you're still with me, let's take that one step further, okay? What happens when they start to sell them? Because of course tourists want souvenirs, and few things sell better than the lion you see on every wall. Almost no tourist site here fails to include the small Shisa figurines, and very few tourist sites are owned by Okinawans. Even to this day, the systemic oppression of their people means that they have far less access to the economic wealth that allows them to run businesses like mainland imports.
So who controls the Shisa? Well, seems like everybody. You cannot turn back the past. The cat, dog is out of the bag. Love it or hate it, Okinawan history is being used to sell German soft drinks by Japanese importers to American soldiers. But it could be worse. They could be ground to dust. They could be destroyed. Their memory could be wiped away. Yes, culture is a spoil of war. Yes, the powerful will always control the weak. but you can't turn back history. It always moves forward, and culture has always been whatever we do with it. Modern Okinawans, be they from Taiwan or Nepal or Japan or America, love their little stone pets, even if they never saw the animals that they're truly meant to represent. This is Rare Earth.
That was pretty cool. I learned something today. Cool. Thank you, Gad. All right, next we've got Zine Onion News. I think this is like a thing it's a Stellaris thing, which, you know, I'm down with.
All the latest news from your cluster. Human President Jeffrey Rosario faces corruption charges over claims he inappropriately spent influence. It's day 538 in the search for the missing space amoeba Bubbles, and a new study suggests we're all just helpless pawns trapped inside a computer simulation. All this and more coming up.
You're watching Zenonian News, broadcasting live from the ISS Zenonian Deep Space Black Site.
I've seen these things on Reddit, so it's apparently like an Onion joke. It's like The Onion and a news broadcast from the Stellaris universe, so I'm interested to see what this ends up as.
Wherever you think you are right now, with Unity Albright on the news desk, Blurg the Impaler on sports, and Cindy in the 24/7 365 Weather Sentry Array.
Good evening. You're watching Zenonian News. I'm Unity Albright. We start tonight with some breaking news out of the Zentaris system, where galactic diplomats are scrambling to minimize damage after a one-planet miner accidentally insulted a fallen empire. The insult to the Roth Combine, a notoriously aggressive stagnant ascendancy, was issued from High Nest, the only planet of the newly formed Kawian Cooperative, an avian bureaucracy that discovered FTL 2 months ago. For more, we're now joined by Zenonian political correspondent Hask Kalas and Kawian representative.
Surprised by the production quality of this.
Hask, starting with you, what's happened here?
Well, Unity, the Kawian are one of the newest species to join the galactic community, and it appears they didn't realize...
Okay, is it supposed to be... I can't tell if it's supposed to be humor or not, is the thing.
The Vroth were a fallen empire. One government official tweeted how they initially thought the Vroth were a pre-sapient reptilian species and issued an insult accordingly. Upon realizing their mistake, the Kawians tried to apologize diplomatically, but were hindered after discovering the Galactic UN banned embassies last year. Kawian leader Supreme Ku also attempted to ease tensions by holding a public press conference, but that was cut short after he became distracted by a shiny object and began furiously pecking at it.
And Plume
Birds
of Teal,
do be like that.
what is the Kawian position on this? I see. Well, thank you both for your insightful analyses. The Vroth have not yet responded to the insult, but unconfirmed reports have begun to filter through that several of their 200K battleship fleets have begun to amass outside of Kawian borders. Supreme Ku has attempted to quell panic by reassuring Pops living on High Nest that he's confident the Cooperative's 5 corvettes will keep them safe. We'll have more on this story as it breaks. If you're joining us by Neural Net, you can watch a more detailed report by blinking twice. Likewise, if you're joining us psionically via the Shroud, just think about extra news real hard. We're going to take a short break right now, but when we come back, we'll be asking, is the galaxy about to run out of tile blockers?
Okie dokie. That was interesting. All right, next up we've got There's Power in Union by Joe Hill. Let's see, this sounds like it might be music. Joe Hill was executed at the Utah State Prison on November 19th, 1915 after being convicted of killing John G. Morrison. Okay.
Would
you have freedom from wage slavery and join in the grand industrial band? Would you from misery and hunger be free and come do your share like a man?
There is power in the band of working men when they stand hand in hand. That's the power that must rule in every land, one industrial union grand.
Would you have sharings the gold in the sky and live in a shack away in the back? Would you have wings up in heaven to fly and starve here with rags on your back?
There is power in the band of working men when they stand hand in hand. That's the power that must rule in every land, one industrial union land.
If you've had enough of the blood of the lamb, then join in the grand industrial band. If for a change you would have eggs and ham, come do your share like a man.
There is power in the band of working men when they stand hand in hand. That's the power that must rule in every land, one industrial union band.
Well, if you like sluggers to beat off your head, then don't organize or unions despise. If you are nothing before you are dead, shake hands with your boss and the wise.
There is power in the band of working men when they stand hand in hand. That's the power that must rule in every land.
The song is called There is Power in a Union.
Oh, come, oh, ye workers from every land, join in the grand industrial band. Then we our share of this earth shall demand. Come do your part like a man.
There is power in the band of working men when they stand hand in hand. That's the power that must rule in every land, one industrial union band.
Would you take contently what's put in your hand, less than you earn with one leg to stand? Would you believe what they tell you to be, or with brothers go out and see?
Yes, this was written in like 1910.
There is power in the band of working men when they stand hand in hand. That's the power that must rule in every land, one industrial union band. There is power in those band working men when they stand hand in hand. That's the power that must rule in every land, one industrial union band, one industrial union band, one industrial union band.
Alrighty. That was good. Do love some music. Okay. Next up, what do we got? Jason Johnson drops one of 2021's hottest takes so far. Okie dokie. I think I made a mistake on something. So I think this was just posted like today, right? I think I got a bunch of stuff here that's like one second. I'm just fixing a little problem. Okay. Now let's see. Okay. The next one we got here is when Facebook resurrected the dead. This should be fun. As somebody who had to deal with his dead grandpa being recommended as somebody to invite to parties for like the better part of a decade, this should be interesting.
When Facebook claimed they could resurrect the dead, the world laughed. But Facebook were entirely serious. The technology was proprietary, they said, but the details leaked out soon enough. They took a copy of every digital trace of you, every email in your archive, every photo and video you took or appeared in, every web page you visited, every keystroke you typed, your location history, social network history, everything built up over decades. The people who'd grown up with the internet were in their 40s and 50s now, and their old data was still in the systems. From there, Facebook built up a model.
Oh yeah, this is I talked to Tom Scott about this series. It's like his Black Mirror series, and I was like, this was so good, you needed to make more of this. And he told me that he wanted to, and that it got very well received, but that like apparently these were very hard to make and they took a lot of work. And so maybe he would come back someday is basically his thing, and I don't think he's come back since, but they're really good.
Petabytes and exabytes in size that could approximate the way you'd respond. It wasn't a quick or easy process, but it worked.
Oh, okay.
The technology came from a company that wanted to design virtual assistants, something for people who received too much email. Who better to trust your email to than yourself? The trouble was this: the models received the input, updated themselves, and spat out a vaguely coherent set of sentence fragments and concepts in reply. That had to be typed up into English by remote translators, and then that text had to be run through the model again so the vocabulary and grammar would match the original person. So as virtual assistants, they were slow and expensive, and anyone with the money and need would just, well, hire an actual assistant instead. Facebook originally bought the company with the hope of automatically testing reactions to targeted adverts, and then some bright spark realised that the original subject didn't need to be alive anymore.
But it does feel very much like that.
This was their proposal.
Tom Scott's Black Mirror
After you died,
series he did
your
a
friends
while
and
back.
relatives could still send you messages. They could ask for advice, send updates on their lives, and just talk. And the model would send a reply after an hour or two, and it would be pretty much indistinguishable from you.
But like this is like a common like scary scenario that's been thought up by several people over the years, including an episode of Black Mirror. And so I think it's like tapping into that collective fear about how much data things have collected on us over the years.
As if you were on another continent and only had access to email. And every now and then, just to make sure that they were solvent, it'd drop in a product placement or two. The reaction was predictable: outrage, shock, jokes on late-night talk shows. A few years later, though, it had become mainstream. Like online dating at the start of the century, it had stopped being something that weirdos do, and instead something that got advertised on billboards. Lots of companies offered it. The first posthumously written album by a simulated Michael Jackson went straight to number 1. The lawsuit over who gets the royalties is still ongoing. Hapless romantics falling in love with models of the deceased is already a topic on the tabloid talk shows. In Kentucky, a church is using a slower, open-source version of the modelling system and feeding it the New Testament in the hope that they can resurrect Jesus and bring about the second coming.
Oh no.
And tomorrow, an engineer from Facebook is going to receive a bug report from one of the translators. One of the most complicated and busy models of a US Supreme Court judge that provides useful, expert legal advice received a question about human rights. It's pieced together a dozen concepts and in response has claimed that it's conscious, that it's alive, and that it wants the vote. That's when things will really start getting weird.
Well, that was interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of... Obviously, this is like... Yeah, this video is like 8 years old, so... We're like a lot closer to this reality. I guess we kind of undershot how easy this would actually be. And now it's like, a lot older. Anyways, now we're going to learn about the history of Alton Towers' black hole. I don't know anything about this. Let's go.
As you admire its dignified tranquility, it's hard to believe that this is the crowning glory of a unique achievement that draws more than 2 million visitors a year. They come, quite simply, for the day out of a lifetime. Because this isn't merely a stately home, this is Alton Towers, Britain's great entertainment success story. There are charming rides the whole family can enjoy, like Around the World in 80 Days, a colourful gondola trip round an enchanted lagoon with a different serenade for every ingenious setting. Nearby, Do You Fancy a Cuppa takes on a whole new meaning. The delightfully designed teapot ride will leave you stirred but not shaken. And here the fountains really do play. Their jets arching.
So is Defunct Land... I thought Defunct Land was about Disney.
Even the great American leisure parks.
But is it... No, it's just about, like, things that don't exist anymore?
Alton Towers is special.
I don't know anything about this. I don't watch Defunct Land regularly, so...
wholesome, safe, and above all, hugely enjoyable. Alton Towers.
It's just about theme parks that don't exist anymore. Okay.
In the 1600s, a ruined castle located in present-day Staffordshire, England, was reconstructed and repurposed as a hunting lodge. The castle, constructed around 600 years prior, had been owned by a series of English noblemen before it was mostly destroyed in the English Civil War. However, one tower remained, and it was implemented into the hunting lodge's design. The lodge was split into two parts, one being used for the family of the Earl of Shrewsbury, and the other available for rent. The lodge was named Alverton Lodge, the ancient name given to the nearby village of Alton. The lodge was renovated into a permanent residence for the Earl in the early 1800s. This renovation doubled the size of the structure and added an additional tower. Alverton Lodge was renamed to the Alton Abbey. A sprawling garden was created, adding to the beauty of the estate. After the Earl passed in 1827, his nephew took over his position and eventually his residency. He expanded the estate even more and renamed it to Alton Towers. He would even begin to occasionally invite the public to visit the residency. Alton Towers would be handed down to the succeeding Earls of Shrewsbury for the coming decades. In the 1890s, the Earl began an annual festival on the estate in which the public could visit the gardens and be treated to fireworks, clowns, and torture devices. In the early 1920s, the Earl of Shrewsbury would put Alton Towers up for sale. A group of entrepreneurs would take this opportunity to purchase part of the estate and update it for public use under the company Alton Towers Limited. This remained until World War II, when the British government acquired the land for training grounds. Alton Towers Limited would resume operation after the war, opening an elaborate model train display in 1957. The model was so impressive that Alton Towers Limited began requiring an admission fee to view it. Over the next 2 decades, the land surrounding the estate would be renovated for the public's enjoyment. Alton Towers Limited would add a lake for boating, a small fair with temporary attractions, sea lions,
feels almost
and a
like
chairlift. In 1973, the
there's that theme park that is in... God, what was that TV show? Was it American Gods? There's like a theme park in American Gods that people use to meet in that sort of has the same vibe as this.
Famed English property developer John Broome married the daughter of the owner of Alton Towers. He then purchased a major share in the company, renovating the land once again with additional attractions and events. Throughout the 70s, Broome would begin to study other successful theme parks throughout the world, including the popular Disney parks in the United States. The management of Alton Towers wanted the intricate theming of Disneyland and Walt Disney World, and they realized that they would not need to renovate the entire area in favor of a world of fantasy. They already had the historical grounds, the beautiful, albeit deteriorating castle, and the expansive gardens. Alton Towers would simply need to remove their temporary makeshift attractions and replace them with something bigger and better.
In Alton Towers you will find you can leave if your cares behind. Here's a new world just for you.
Hey, they have one of those sliding things at Canada's Wonderland. I remember that thing.
In 1980, Alton Towers began adding large-scale
you guys are way too
attractions.
horny for
This featured a
trains,
movie theater
gotta
named the
say.
Cine 2000 and the swinging pirate ship. Alton Towers also constructed their first roller coaster, the Corkscrew, a classic by popular manufacturer Aerodynamics. This was the first double-looping coaster in the UK, and while a good start for Alton Towers, it was clear that the park was still finding its footing. While Broome was striving to match the theming of parks such as Disneyland, the roller coaster lacked any whatsoever. It was incredibly similar to Busch Garden Tampa Bay's first coaster, Python. Both were developed by Aerodynamic, both featured their signature corkscrew loop, both lasted about a minute and a half, both were yellow, and Python and Corkscrew both reached the short height
I guess
of around
theme parks
70
are
feet.
not
In short,
fun
Python was no
when,
record breaker, and its lack of
you,
theming was
what's it
problematic
called?
for a
When you-
park
if you
wishing
get
to
motion
capture
sickness or
Disneyland.
anything like that?
However, it was massively successful in drawing audiences into Alton Towers. The new attractions were met with such a positive response, both verbally and monetarily, that Alton Towers immediately expanded and its theming improved. The very next year, the park would open its first themed area, named after the noble family that presided over the castle during its stages of rapid development.
Wow. Who wouldn't be just so excited to go to the brand new theme park, Talbot Street?
That same year, a theater was added along with a log flume ride. The flume, then named the Whitewater Flume, was the world's longest and was 15 feet taller than the Corkscrew coaster at a height of nearly 90 feet. In 1983, the second themed land, Fantasy World, opened. This began a more consistent sectioning of the park's attractions.
I would say that there should be episodes about this on Canada's Wonderland, but I don't even know what Canada's Wonderland's like, what's been shut down there yet. I haven't been into Wonderland probably since like 2007, so I don't even know what's even going on there anymore.
The Corkscrew Coaster, along with other temporary carnival attractions, were sectioned to the Festival Park area, while the Pirate Ship and the Cinna 2000 were on the other side of the park in Fantasy World. Alton Towers was booming, with new temporary guest experiences being added to entertain the large crowds.
Hello,
In the
Chemaz
midst of this wild
Alter.
success, the park was planning a new thrilling experience for its guests. In 1974, Anton Schwarzkopf, the famed German coaster designer that would go on to build the first vertical looping steel coaster, debuted his most recent design, the Jetstar 2. This was the second version of the successful Jetstar model. Versions of the original were reproduced all across the world, popular for their condensed nature which was perfect for the smaller parks. Its fast speed and sharp turns made some riders uncomfortable, especially as it aged. Jetstar is not to be confused with Starjet, the coaster that famously fell into the Atlantic Ocean due to Hurricane Sandy in 2012. Starjet was at Casino Pier in Seaside Heights, New Jersey, where it actually replaced an original Jetstar model in the early 2000s. At the 1974 World's Fair in
like
Spokane,
half of
Washington,
Canadian cities
Schwarzkopf
have a
would
Talbot
introduce
Street.
Jetstar 2 to the public. This model was similar in style to the Jetstar 1, with a few key differences. First, the new ride implemented an electric spiral lift hill instead of the original's chain lift. This was powered by an electric track and small motors beneath the ride's car. The lift is weak, which is why a gradual spiral incline is necessary. An electric spiral lift not only made Jetstar 2's experience more enjoyable, but it also condensed the lift, allowing for more track. Another difference was that Jetstar 2 was 200 feet longer than Jetstar 1,
It's an actual
which might
place
be
in
attributed to the
Wisconsin.
longer
Oh,
length of the
I didn't
lift
know
hill.
that.
Finally, the new model had a higher car capacity than the original. The new coaster was a massive success at the World's Fair, and 2 years later, it was moved to Farmington, Utah's Lagoon Amusement Park. Schwarzkopf eventually would release the Jetstar 3, or Jumbo Jet, which was a larger version of its predecessor. The Jetstar 2 model was probably the most popular of the trilogy, being reproduced in multiple countries on multiple continents, eventually finding its way to a growing amusement park in Staffordshire.
I've been to Canada's Wonderland many times, and basically,
For
near
none
the
but
end,
the
all I
brave
would
in
want to do
fantasy
is
world,
roller
there's the
coasters.
new
They're
black
fun.
hole.
I enjoy
Makes
them.
The old one look distinctly
I haven't
changed.
been on one since I
This
was
pitch
like
dark space
17,
ride
so maybe
plunges
that's
you
different
round
now, but,
impossibly
you know.
tight bends and down seemingly sheer drops.
In 1984, Alton Towers opened its second roller coaster, the Black Hole. The Black Hole was a Jetstar 2 housed in 2 large tents, complete with special effects and theming. Over 250,000 metric tons of soil had to be excavated in order to place the ride in the hilly area. The
Do I have a
coaster was an
Twitter?
obvious
Yeah, it's
attempt
at
to
Tristan
copy Space
PJ.
Mountain at Walt Disney World and Disneyland, a fact that they did not try to hide. Of course, the theming was not nearly as complete as Space Mountain's, which is understandable, considering that it was made on a budget of 1/10 of Space Mountain's, with Alton Towers coaster costing around $2.4 million, while Space Mountain's cost around $20 million nearly 10 years prior. The black hole's effects comprised of a few rocks that were barely ever visible and minimal laser and star projections. It also didn't attempt to tell any kind of story like other Space Mountain ripoffs did. Guests did not know what to expect out of the enclosed coaster, and the theming revealed nothing during the boarding process or during the spiral ascent into darkness. While riding roller coasters, guests subconsciously brace themselves as they see an upcoming twist or turn.
Indoor
This
roller
results
coaster, everything
through
is
the ride
pitch black.
experience,
I would think
as
that
both
a
the
pitch
guest and
black
the
roller
are
coaster would
working
be
to
kind of
navigate
boring.
changes in direction together. This symbiotic relationship becomes clear when guests ride a coaster that goes in reverse, such as the classic boomerang style. The first trip in which guests are traveling forward is not nearly as jarring as the second reverse run, as guests are not able to brace themselves for what is coming behind them. Most indoor coasters are steel coasters that are already fluid. Space Mountain, built long before riding a steel coaster could feel as smooth as butter, compensates for the impairment created by darkness by having a very limited top speed of 28 miles per hour, and even the Disney Classic has become increasingly rough with age. The black hole did not account for the fact that guests would not be able to see when and where a turn would come, and due to the Jetstar 2's compactness, nearly all of its turns are mind-numbingly sharp. So in 1984, when guests first plunged into the darkness of the black hole, falling 27 feet at a speed of 32 miles per hour, they were not prepared for the intense whiplash they would receive at the bottom. This immediately gave the ride a reputation of terror, making it quite popular among the local youth. One recalls, "I don't think any coaster after the black hole created the same sense of buzz around the schoolyard. You were nobody until you rode the black hole and proudly showed off your on-ride photo at school." In 1984, it was the nemesis and oblivion of its day. But back then, steel coasters were still new, so it had a far greater impact on visitors than the later grand rides. And the fact that it was all hidden in the dark only added to its sense of menace. As mentioned, the ride also featured an on-ride photo that would be purchased upon exit. The ride cars fit 2 per seat in a single file, meaning that one rider would have to sit in the other's lap, for a total of 6 per vehicle. For years there have been rumors that there was a death on the black hole, but this is not true. However, there was a notable accident that occurred only weeks after it opened. The metal and mechanisms in one of the ride car's undercarriage broke loose, causing it to halt in the front of the car to derail. This of course injured the passengers, the majority of which were teenagers or children. The injuries were minor when compared to the worst case scenario, but one guest needed 5 stitches in their head and another 19 in their jaw. The ride was inspected and quickly reopened. Just 1 year after the black hole opened, it underwent a refurbishment. Lights were added to the spiral lift so that guests could see the drop coming. The first hill was adjusted to reduce whiplash, and a smoke machine was added to the special effects lineup. This machine was originally oil-based but was later changed to water-based smoke because the oil lubricated the rail so much that it dangerously increased the speed of the coaster.
Oh no!
3 years after this refurbishment, the black hole would be dismantled and transported out of the park, where it was taken to a manufacturer that adjusted the ride to allow for new dual-car trains. The ride reopened the same year, now marketed as a new ride, Black Hole 2. Despite the only changes being the train style and a few minor updates to special effects. The next year in 1989, the sequel signature was dropped, and the ride was just referred to as New Black Hole. This was changed almost immediately, reverting back to simply the Black Hole the following year. Alton Towers had grown dramatically during the 80s, and the Fantasy World section of the park was just a small part of the story. The
So
entire
go
park
to
had
Alton
improved the theme and
Towers,
added new thrill rides.
the most
One
British
of the new
theme
coasters was
park.
the 1988's Beast, a Jetstar 3 jumbo jet coaster. Observant park guests noticed the striking similarities between Beast and the Black Hole, leading many to wrongly believe that they were the same ride. The confusion and near repetitiveness would turn out to be the least of the Black Hole's problems, because while Alton Towers had boomed in the
Marmite
80s,
Hole,
it was
oh
nothing
boy.
compared to the
No one
growth
wants
that
to
they
go
faced in
there.
the 90s. While Alton Towers had originally been comprised of simpler, mundane coasters, that would all change in the mid to late 90s. In 1992, roller coaster manufacturer
wasn't the ad
B&M
like, "Yeah,
changed the
stop by
landscape
for a
with their new
cuppa"?
inverted coaster. Alton
It's like
Towers
the
would
most
be one
British
of the
thing I've
first
ever
parks to
heard.
receive this style in 1994 with the well-themed Nemesis. This was B&M's first European ride, and it solidified Alton Towers as the capital of thrills in the region. 4 years later, B&M would return to the park to test out a new coaster unlike anything ever created.
Look down.
Oblivion, the world's first vertical drop roller coaster at Alton Towers.
In 1998, the world's first dive
Try to
coaster,
make Alton
Oblivion,
Towers feel
opened at
badass.
Alton Towers, diving vertically into a large hole in the ground. Oblivion thrilled audiences with its unique design. The attraction itself was remarkably short, with a ride time of just over a minute long, but it more than satisfied guests. The attraction was
I
placed in
remember when the
Fantasy
drop
World section of the
tower
park,
was added
causing the
at,
entire area to undergo a massive retheming.
There was a big one that came at, it was a Canada's Wonderland. It was like one of those big towers that drop you down. I imagined a similar feel.
It was changed to X Sector, an experimenting facility that used guests as subjects. The festival-themed Fantasy World rides were removed, leaving only one when the new land opened in 1998, the Black Hole. In preparation for Oblivion's opening, the Black Hole was redressed. Its green and yellow tents were replaced with dark blue ones. The interior queue was updated with a steampunk bronze look, possibly attempting to copy Disney's newest Space Mountain, which had opened in Paris 3 years earlier.
Oh.
The Black Hole would continue operation for the next few years.
I like how many of these things
However,
are just
in
rip-offs of
2004,
each other.
20 years after it opened, Alton Towers announced that the attraction would be closing. The ride had become severely outdated throughout the years, and as it aged, it had become more expensive to maintain. White chalk marked the railings in order to reveal any fractures in the track if they were to occur. It was deemed that the attraction was not worth the time and money of maintenance, and on March 5, 2005, the attraction shut its doors. The final riders were allowed to ride the attraction with the lights on, as well as tour the ride. The large blue tent sat abandoned for years. In 2007, the track was removed from the park, but the tents remained. After 4 years residing empty in the X Sector, the Black Hole Show building was...
This is why there's so much like Disney secret lore, is because it seems like theme parks, like when they remove an exhibit or something like that, they'll just like leave it abandoned for decades, or at least for several years, where it's still on the map and it's still like there, but you can't go in. And like that's just like begging for people to build myths around it.
Was used for 2 separate seasonal haunted house attractions. Just months after this, in early 2012, Alton Towers announced that a new roller coaster would use the land currently occupied by the remains of Black Hole. The new coaster was named the Smiler, and it holds the record for the most inversions of any coaster in the world, with a total of 14. The ride opened on May 31st, 2013, and it is still operating today. The coaster's backstory fits in with the X-Sector experiments in that the guests are subjected to trials designed to make them smile, and somehow its marketing campaign was even more terrifying than Oblivion's.
Don't look down, Miles. Don't look down.
The hell is this commercial?
Let go of the pain. Focus on the joy. Your mind, your body sliding into submission. There is no fight left in you.
The new ride has had multiple incidents, including a recent collision that led to 2 guests having to partially amputate one of their legs. The Smiler tops its predecessor in almost every measurable category: theming, story, and design. But for many fans, nothing will compare to the original attraction that occupied its space. Maybe it was the slow spiral ascent, maybe it was the thrilling plunge into darkness, or maybe it was the whiplash.
Man, these roller coasters really do a number on
Whatever
people.
it was,
it's like killing people
fun,
and
special,
partially
and
amputating
memorable.
limbs and shit.
It
Oh,
was
jeez.
the black hole.
Well, that was a thing. How much time we got left? Do we have time for... We got 19 minutes. Let's see what this one is. Inside Job, the assassination of Harvey Milk. All right, let's take a looky-loo at this.
What happens when powerful bigots don't get their way and don't think that they'll ever have to face consequences for their actions? On a November morning in 1978, Dan White snuck past metal detectors at San Francisco City Hall and assassinated his colleagues, Mayor Moscone and Harvey Milk. Now, nearly 50 years later, Republican members of Congress are refusing to pass through metal detectors at the U.S. Capitol so they can bring their guns to work. Hey, it's Matt. I make videos about queer history as seen on TV and film, and as someone who spends a lot of time reading about the past, lately I've been feeling some very uncomfortable deja vu. So I think it might be a good time to look back at what happened in San Francisco in the 70s and see if there are any lessons for today. And a quick note, I'm going to be using clips from 2 excellent sources that I recommend: the fantastic documentary The Times of Harvey Milk and the 2008 film Milk. If you want to watch either of those, I have a link in the description to where you can find them streaming, and also a link to my Patreon. So, Harvey Milk. We know him now as a radical queer leader in San Francisco in the 70s. But before that, he was just some guy who owned a camera store and was popular with the neighbors. At the time, the Castro was an up-and-coming neighborhood, and as a resident and a store owner, Harvey was frustrated that the growing queer population
Should probably learn more about this guy. I don't actually know all that much about him.
So he ran for office and failed pretty badly, but he made some allies. He got some attention.
Harvey Milk's the
lessons,
kind of person
and so he
I
ran
should
again.
know more about, but I don't.
And again, and again. One reason he kept losing was because the city did what's called at-large elections. That means the whole city voted for the Board of Supervisors rather than each neighborhood getting their own pick. That system allowed the city's longtime majority, straight white men, to basically control City Hall. A gay candidate didn't really stand a chance. But then, in 1977, San Francisco switched to district elections, and suddenly, the Castro got to choose their own candidate, and it was Harvey in a landslide. That also meant big wins for other minorities who'd always been shut out. It was the most diverse Board of Supervisors in history that year. The first self-described women's rights advocate, the first Chinese-American supervisor, the first black woman, and then there was Dan White. Dan was a former cop who was elected with strong support from the San Francisco Police Union. His district was described by the New York Times as largely white, middle class, and, quote, hostile to the homosexual community. Dan ran as a defender of family and religious life against homosexuals. He pledged to take the city back from, quote, radicals, social deviants, and incorrigibles, unquote, and told his followers that there were, quote, thousands of frustrated, angry people, such as yourselves, waiting to unleash a fury that will eradicate the malignancies which blight our beautiful city, unquote. That intensity sounds a lot like the rhetoric that
this feels nothing
today.
Besides being
Harvey,
gay. I don't think there's that much in common
did,
between Harvey
he did
Milk
with an
and
eye to the gay movement. So,
Pete
as you can imagine,
Buttigieg.
Dan and Harvey clashed on some issues. White quickly ran into trouble in office. He got frustrated with the job, and after less than a year, he resigned. He said he didn't like city politics and that he wasn't getting paid enough, so much for unleashing a fury. But then, a few days after he resigned, he changed his mind and asked for his job back. The mayor was like, no, so Dan took matters into his own hands. The morning that Mayor Moscone was going to announce Dan's replacement, Dan slipped a revolver into his pocket, along with 10 bullets. City Hall had just installed metal detectors, so he didn't go through the main entrance. He slipped around to the side and climbed in through a window, so he could bring the gun with him. He went to the mayor's office first, They argued, Dan shot him. Then Dan went to Harvey's office and assassinated him too. Then Dan drove to the police station where he used to work and turned himself in. Harvey's body was found by the president of the Board of Supervisors, Dianne Feinstein.
Isn't there a movie? Yeah, there's a movie. It's called Milk.
As president of the Board of Supervisors, it's my duty to make this announcement. Both Mayor Moscone and Supervisor Harvey Milk.
Oh my. It's like, just shows how long Dianne Feinstein's been in politics. Holy shit. This is the senator. This is the senator that has like serious dementia, but like her aides still keep things going, and she gets mad because she forgets about things that she just looked at and stuff like that. So yeah.
Have been shot and killed.
After he turned himself in, Dan White had the full support of the San Francisco Police Department. They fundraised for his defense, about $100,000, and cops wore shirts that said, "Free Dan White." He was found guilty, but he was only sentenced to a couple of years in prison. We think of San Francisco as a pretty friendly city for queer people, but that was certainly not the case back then. Back then, queer people were still...
Yeah, she's already registered to run again, and yeah, she's going to be 91 when she tries to run again. It's weird how they always complained about people being too old when Bernie runs, but they don't seem to complain about Dianne Feinstein running at 91 and having, like, serious dementia. Yay! Remember, it's only bad when left-wing people do it.
Little bit of political power. And the old guard...
And Bernie's doesn't have dementia, is the thing.
City Hall year after year until that election didn't like what was changing. I'm telling you this story because even though it was a long time ago, it has echoes today. I'm recording this video a week after the U.S. Capitol started requiring members of Congress to pass through metal detectors following a violent attempt by right-wing extremists to take over Congress. Extremists who were encouraged by conservative politicians. Politicians who told their followers that their power was being taken away. Bigots lashing out over an election that didn't go their way. And now, how are those conservative politicians responding to having to go through metal detectors? They're refusing. They're refusing to stop when they set them off. They're bragging about bringing guns into the Capitol. This all sounds like a story we've heard before, and I just hope Dianne Feinstein doesn't have to go through this again.
Shit. Oh, man. Okay. So let's see what we got. We're got 12 minutes, so we got to get something a little short. All right, here. Board game reviews for laser chess. Okay, let's see what laser chess is.
Time for another board game review, and this time we have the game Laser Chess. This was sent to me by Think Fun.
You can't say it really any other way. You have to go laser chess.
Dr. Michael Larson. Laser Chess. A game of capture has never been this much fun. Laser Chess combines the fun of bending lasers and illuminating pieces with chess-like strategy. You have to strike your opponent's king while protecting your own from getting zapped. Simple rules and only a few basic moves make Laser Chess easy to learn and quick to play. Let me show you how to play. So in Laser Chess, you have several different pieces. Each player has one laser that remains in the corner of the game grid throughout the game. You press the button on top, and a laser comes out. This is not a playing token, and it cannot be eliminated.
This does sound like a cool game.
This is a deflector. The mirrored side of the deflector reflects. Oh, yeah, there's
so you have to bend the laser so it hits the king. That's pretty cool.
Deflector is eliminated from play if any of its non-mirror surfaces are hit by the laser, in which case it would basically light up. This piece is a defender. The front side of the defender blocks the laser, and the defender will remain in play if it's hit from the front. However, if you can hit it from the sides, you can eliminate it from play. The switch has two mirrors, and both of them reflect the laser 90 degrees. The switch can also swap places with an adjacent deflector or defender, and a switch can never be eliminated from play. This is your king. If your king is ever hit by the laser, you lose. There are 5 different board setups you can do: Ace, Curiosity, Grail, Mercury, and Sophie. We're going to go ahead and show you the Ace configuration. So the blue/white player goes first. Players take turns with each player.
I like that. I'm just clever about the mechanics, you know?
All playing tokens,
like,
including the kings, can be moved.
The laser,
turn, you may
like, I don't know, the
take
fact
one
that
of
it
the
uses a
following
laser
actions.
to
You may move any one token, one space in any direction.
It's clever. It's a clever,
including
like, strategic
diagonally,
puzzle type thing.
Following the
I don't
movement
know.
rules. So here are the movement rules. A token may only be moved or rotated in one turn, not both. So you can't rotate this and move it. You gotta choose if you're gonna do one or the other. A token may only be rotated 90 degrees at a time.
And
There's
then it
also a
uses, like,
special move.
an
This
actual
move is
laser,
made
like
by a
actual
switch
mechanics. It's
token.
not abstracted.
The
I think
switch
that's really
may
cool.
swap places with an adjacent deflector or defender of either color. Neither token rotates during the swap, and a switch cannot swap places with a king or another switch piece. So if this piece were here, these two could switch. So yeah, you can
Might need
move
to
your
ban
tokens,
somebody.
you can rotate your tokens, you can rotate your
yeah.
laser to point in a different direction, like you can point this way or this way. You rotate your laser before you fire your laser. Now, after you've done your movement or rotation, you activate your laser by pressing the top button. If any pieces are struck by the laser, they are removed from the board. So let's say this piece was here. If I shoot the laser, bam, see how it lights up? That means that that piece is out of there. Even if you light up your own token, it's still eliminated from play. So you have to be careful and pay attention to how the mirrors are bouncing. Like if this piece was like this, look at that. This bounces off here, 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 and your own piece would get lit up, so you have to watch out. The laser is fired only once
sweet.
at the end of your turn, and the turn is over whether or not it hits something. So you can't fire it in mid-turn just go, oh, is that where is it hitting? You just have to trace it with your eyes. You can't test it out between turns. Now, red tokens can never go into these white helix spaces, and the white pieces can never go into the red helix spaces. Those are off limits for either color. If any laser beam lands on a king token, that king is removed, and the game is over. And if you are the player whose king was not zapped,
I kind of
you win.
want this board
so
game.
if you had something like
it looks
this,
like it's really
bam,
expensive,
see
but
that?
it looks like
king
it'd be
is
pretty
lit
fun.
up as the laser bounces off mirrors and hits it. And that's the game. Move your pieces and rotate them in strategic ways so that you can try to get that laser to hit the other king. The components of the game are actually quite nice. The mirrors bounce as they should. The laser really
Oh, it's
does
also
work
really
very
old, so it's probably
smoothly.
out of...
It is genuinely cool to sort of like
If it's from 1987,
press it,
I
and
imagine
boom,
it's
boom,
probably
boom.
pretty
Even
hard
though
to
you
get
don't
these
see
days.
the laser, you can see it just light up immediately. It's very satisfying. Gameplay is very simple to learn and pick up. There's only a handful of pieces. It's not
They still make it?
overwhelming to
That'd be
learn.
pretty
You can
cool.
either turn or move and press the laser. It's easy. I appreciate the inclusion of different board setups. It adds a lot of variety in gameplay. I also love that the pieces glow when you capture them. It's a very clever and nice touch that sort of happens, and like I said, it's very satisfying. It's not a game that completely captivated me, but it's clever and it's a fun novelty. It's actually pretty
Do we
tough.
need a Discord
trying to wrap
link?
your
I
head
can make a
around
Discord link.
Following two different laser paths.
Here, let me
'cause
do
not
a
only is
Discord
your
invite
laser
link.
important, but the other player's laser is important. You got to keep track of how are your pieces affecting your laser path? How is it affecting their laser path? And then potentially, how is the laser going to be affected if this is moved on the next turn? You got to try to work around your opponent's moves and your moves to make it all work out. If you enjoy one-on-one strategy games, this isn't just a silly gimmick. You think with a title like Laser Chess, it sounds kind of like a gimmick, but it's a unique and clever game, and I think it's worth checking out if you like that sort of thing. So, yeah, pretty good.
Alrighty, that's cool. Alright, we're gonna need something real short for the next one. Okay, let's see. We'll get one more in. Can we do it? Can we do it? Ah, here we go. Death Grips the Year of the Snitch. Quick album review. Okie dokie, let's see what this is.
The director of Shrek worked on this? Wait. So it turns out they don't sync up at all. 0 out of 10. It's their worst album yet.
Nice. Okay, that was very short. Maybe we can even get another one in. Let's see. What do we got? What do we got? Need... How much time we have? We have about 5 minutes. Here. Let's talk Awesome Bro. Let's see what that is.
In a 2013 blog post about the impending release of Jurassic World, paleo artist John Conway coined the phrase "awesome bro" to refer to a subset of people who are only interested in prehistoric life for its coolness factor. Gotta have blood and guts, lots of violence, and monstrous designs. This gory view of paleontology is also insanely pervasive. The biggest reason why dinosaurs are so popular is because they are seen as monsters that actually existed. And as I've mentioned in numerous videos before, looking at prehistory this way is one-dimensional, misleading, and monotonous. A good chunk of the public's misunderstandings about paleontology are because of this focus on coolness.
Toxic masculinity makes its way to
resistance of the fact that
paleontology.
dinosaurs had feathers, a variety of paleo art memes, and the failure of most paleo documentaries are problems that all have their roots with this fanboy mentality. It has become clear to me that the biggest hurdles to overcome when trying
There has got to be some paleontologists who really fucking hate Jurassic Park because of this.
to create a more nuanced understanding of prehistoric life are these tropes and cliches that tie back to the awesome bro. So does this mean we are going to look down our noses on all the simpleton fanboys who only see prehistoric life as a subject of violence? The simple answer is no. As Dwayne Nash said on his blog Antediluvian Salad, I see it all the time in forums, discussions, comment sections, the fanboy getting torn to shreds. Keep in mind, the person you are talking to or berating online might be all of 8 years old and not too different from you when you were starting to pursue this topic with gusto. Tearing down people who aren't as knowledgeable as you are on a scientific subject is not an effective way of educating them. And that's the goal, right? We want the widest audience possible to feel comfortable learning about and enjoying this more complete understanding of the prehistoric world. And that's just not going to happen if we ridicule those who are uneducated. This doesn't mean we can't make fun of awesome bro culture, it just means we need to be more thoughtful when dealing with the awesome bros. It is possible to create effective satire without
small
being
children.
Facebook pages like Fresh Paleo Memes or a couple of blog posts by Mark Whitten are perfect examples of this, targeting the ideas rather than the people who hold them. Considering what a huge topic awesome bro culture is, I am definitely going to be making more videos about it, but not right away because it can be exhausting to talk about all the time. For now, I want to know what your thoughts are on awesome bro culture and how we can move past it. Let me know down in the comments or hit us up on Facebook, Tumblr, or Twitter.
All right, I think I can get one more in. Luann Platter is a Marxist. Let's do this.
Oh, terrific. George W. is going to need every vote he can get or they won't call it a landslide.
George
Oh,
W?
God.
He's not a communist, is he?
No, he's not.
Wait, oh, here it is. See, our candidate is Robert Parigi.
What? Communist? No.
I guess I cancel your vote out. My first election, and your vote means nothing.
Hank Hill was a really big fan of George W. until he shakes his hand and finds he has a weak handshake. That was like the joke of this episode. But yeah.
What were you thinking? The Russians don't even believe in communism anymore.
You said you wanted me to vote.
You
Fucking
sure did,
Luann
huh?
Platter.
Maybe Luann has a good reason for throwing her vote away.
I've got
Oh
several.
my God.
First,
So
the line
frustrating.
in his booth was the shortest. I like his tie. It's red. And his shirt is white. And his jacket is blue. And that stands for America. Communism!
So I see you finally got
that's
Luann
awful.
involved in politics. That's good.
Yeah.
Ass.
Vote communist.
The people united.
Boo,
Boo! Tommy, go home.
Okay.
God. This
I
show
just think if you don't
is not
read
going
the
to age well.
newspaper and the only TV you watch is the MTV, you shouldn't be allowed to vote.
Stop fighting the last war, Hank. Women got the vote.
Stop fighting the last war. Oh my God. It must have been so lonely being a leftist in 2000. Oh yes. Yes, it was. It was lonely being a leftist in like 2008. Let alone like I think I became a leftist when I was like maybe about 14. So that would have been like what, 2002? So I've been a leftist during some times where it was very, very not fun to be a leftist. And I've been an anarchist since 2009, which like it's not even fun to be an anarchist among leftists until like the last maybe like 3 or 4 years. So yeah. Do you think Hank voted for Trump? Probably. Dale Gribble definitely went down QAnon route. Anyways, it's 2 o'clock. There's a new Step Back video out. I'm going to raid somebody on Twitch, and then I'm going to let you guys go because I want content. Let's see what's going on. Let's do left flank vets. Why not? We normally do Emily, but she hasn't started yet. So, have a good one, everybody. And I'll see y'all on Monday. Have I thought of becoming a post-anarchist? No, not at this point. Anyways, see you guys on Monday.